Welcome to Extraterrestrial Reality. Before we start today's show, I just want to read the description that I wrote for this show before I began filming it. I wrote this. I said, a shift in the UFO narrative occurred in 2017 when Pentagon-controlled military videos depicting apparent UFOs were leaked to the New York Times. In addition to the videos, the newspaper also published an article detailing the encounters United States Navy pilots had had with these strange unidentified objects. Additionally, former intelligence officer Lue Elizondo, among others, reported that UFOs regularly pose dangers to aircraft. From that point forward, the public learned from whistleblowers like former Air Force official David Grusch that there is a secret government effort to retrieve crashed alien craft and dead non-human intelligent beings, and that there is also a reverse engineering program operated in conjunction with the government and private defense aerospace companies. A bipartisan group of elected officials in the Senate and House, meanwhile, have been trying to adopt legislation that they promise would lead to greater transparency with regard to UFOs, or what the government now calls UAP, short for Unidentified Anomalous Phenomena. However, after nearly 8 years, the government still has failed to come clean about what it really knows about UAP and has offered virtually nothing about the pilots who control them. With all of that in mind, it has become painfully apparent that the members of the government do not wish to tell the public what they know about UAP and aliens. Why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because I don't think they have any intention of ever coming fully clean about what they know about this phenomenon. I really don't believe that. I mean, let's look at how this all went down. Okay, in 1947, something crashed in Roswell. I mean, weeks before that, UFOs were being spotted everywhere, all around the world. Thousands of reports, right, in June of 1947. And then something comes down during the first week in July outside of Roswell in the desert. And ever since that point, we've been getting lied to. In fact, the only time the government's ever told the truth is when they told us initially that they recovered a flying saucer. Here's the headline. Here's a copy of the newspaper. This was something actually provided to me recently by friend of the channel, Scott Roeder, the crime scene reconstruction expert from Ohio. Look at our Roswell Army Airfield captures flying saucer on ranch in Roswell region. Of course, all of us know that shortly after that article was published, shortly after that press release went out, then the same day, hours later, right, they changed their story. The Army Air Force did at the time, and they said it was just a weather balloon. And they've been lying to us about this ever since. And then they went on for decades like this. They created these public relations offices like Project Blue Book to investigate UFO reports, and they never really provided any other evidence beyond stating that, oh yeah, we investigated and it could be this, it could be that, but we can't really say. I mean, it was nothing. All it was nonsense. It was all lip service to appease the public. That's all it ever was, right? And then they finally got rid of it in 1969 because they got sick of it. Okay, they got sick of investigating UFOs because they knew at that point that they were never going to tell the truth about what they know about this. I mean, there was obviously a secret control group, probably Majestic 12. Who knows what it was called? Who cares what it was called? It was called something, right? And they've been lying about it. They've been lying about it all these years. And then 2017 rolls around. And I think by that point, I think by the 2010s, there was probably some concern, whether it was from the secret control group or just people who knew about the secret control group or suspected that there was a secret control group that was keeping these UFO and data with regard to UFO as well as aliens secret. And I think what happened is they probably figured at that time that because technology is getting better all the time, that sooner or later there's going to be something that happens, like maybe another Stephenville, Texas incident where a giant UFO shows up and there's hundreds of witnesses, or another Phoenix Lights incident where there's a giant UFO shows up and there's thousands of witnesses, right? They probably figured at some point something like that's going to happen again, so we better start talking about UFOs just in the event something happens again and becomes undeniable. And if we don't start saying something now, then we could conceivably get caught with our pants down later on, and the public's going to not trust us at all, right? So I think that that's what might have prompted this leaking of the Pentagon videos in 2017, the stories that we hear from David Fravor and all that. I think that that's what might have happened. There were concerns by some people within the government, like people like Lue Elizondo and Christopher Mellon, people like that. And it was like, okay, we need the public needs to know about this. We're concerned privately about UFOs, and I'm sure, for all we know, all of this is theater too. That's the other thing. I don't know if this was their plan from the beginning. Okay, how about we do this? Maybe this is the plan, right? The plan could have been is like, okay, what we're going to start doing is we're going to start slowly telling the public about UFOs. We're going to make it look like there's friction within the Pentagon. The Pentagon doesn't want to release anything, but some of these former government officials are saying, yeah, there's stuff that they know about. They're not sharing with the public, and this will keep it in the news for the next how many years? And now it's almost 8 years have gone by, and we still don't have any definitive evidence from the government with regard to this phenomenon. We get stories, we got a lot of lip service, a lot of talk, very, very compelling talk. A lot of people, big names, like within government, making statements like, yeah, these things show anomalous characteristics, right? And so that's what I think has been going on here. I think that it was just, okay, we're going to have to like put it in the public consciousness, because at some point something might happen here, and we're going to have to say something, right? And I'm sure that there's a contingency plan that they have if something does happen, and they'll come out and they'll read something to us, some official in the government and governments of the world, right? I'm sure of this too, right? I am sure that there's cooperation ongoing between certain governments. Like, I'm sure the United States has deals with, who knows, United Kingdom, France, and who God knows, a lot of our allies, right? To keep this hushed up, and we need to study this privately. We can't let the world know about this. Okay, we all got to be on the same page when it comes to this, right? So I think that's real too. I think that there's most certainly it's not just one government that's covering this up, right? I'm sure that for all we know, China has recovered more alien craft than the United States has. We don't know, right? China's a big country too. I'm sure that they're reverse engineering this, and they don't want to tell their people about it too, because all of these countries, right? Russia, China, United States, and all of their allies are all working to reverse engineer these things in the hopes that, hey, maybe if we do it first, then we'll have the advantage over everybody else. Okay, that's probably one of the things that they're trying to do when it comes to reversing. That's the reason for it, right? I think. And maybe it's because if they could duplicate what these aliens have, then maybe we have a fighting chance in case these creatures ever want to try to take over. That could be part of it too. We just don't know. But here's at the same time, right? I don't think they're ever going to tell us the truth. I think we're pretty much on our own. I think basically what we've been getting is all we're ever going to get until something happens, right? Something that makes it undeniable. As far as I'm concerned, that undeniable thing already did happen in Las Vegas back in 2023, but yet that's being suppressed. They don't want to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the beings. They hate talking about the beings. They don't want to do that because that means everyone's going to start thinking about alien abductions and alien implants and cattle mutilations. They can't go there. They don't want to be the ones to tell the public about this because there's nothing they could do about it. It's beyond their control. Way, way beyond their control. And that's one of the things. So instead, we get this nonsense. We get this theater that we've been getting for the past 8 years. Yeah, here's some more videos from Arrow, from the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office. We don't know what it is. What do you think? I mean, what does it matter? They never crossed the red line. They never seemed like they have any intention of crossing that red line. The red line, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, has already been crossed. That there's enough data now in the public domain that should inform the entire planet that, hey, we're definitely not alone here, folks, right? But see, of course, nobody's talking about it. Not the way they should have been. You would think that the scientific community would have done something, but obviously they're afraid to say anything about this either, right? A lot of them, obviously. I'm certain that a lot of these people have looked at this and they realize, oh my God, this is true. There's no question about it now, right? But they don't want to talk about it because they don't want to cross any government. They don't want to overstep their bounds, right? And instead, what we get lies from mainstream news outlets, mainstream entertainment companies. I mean, just recently I was talking about what's that show? The Proof is Out There. They ran a little piece about the Las Vegas case, and they poo-pooed the whole thing. They said, yeah, it's just basically they had brought Mick West on there. They carted him out to tell you some more lies about it being a meteor when there's no way it could have been a meteor, right? It had no heat signature, so how the hell could it have been a meteor, right? But that's what they said. They basically, the Proof is Out There, which is owned by the Hearst Corporation and also jointly owned, and also the Walt Disney Company. Of course, I'm sure that they were probably told by somebody within the Pentagon, hey, we need to make this this Las Vegas case look like it's nothing. So that then they produced this little segment for one of their episodes recently, and they just lie to the public. Yeah, it's inconclusive. It's unfounded, basically, the idea that aliens were in somebody's backyard in 2023. It's unfounded. They didn't even talk about the 1 minute and 41 second long cell phone footage, right, that the family filmed, the Kenmore family, for that case. They're just not going to tell us. They want you to figure it out for yourself. And another thing I want to say this. I think a lot of people, right, just aren't, they don't want to know. I think I'm starting to really think that. You would think that more people would be interested in this subject. Because if they were and they did their research, they would find out, they would realize pretty quickly that, oh, wow, there is something going on here and we are being lied to. But apparently people just aren't concerned about it. Instead, they're concerned about what's going on in politics. That seems to be the big story all the time, right? I think we could walk and chew gum at the same time. I think we could deal with all these different issues that face us, but apparently the Pentagon doesn't think so. And that tells me this. It tells me that this is beyond whatever's happening here with this phenomenon. It tells me that because they won't tell us what's going on with this, they won't cross that red line. They won't acknowledge the reality, right, that we are living in, that there is some non-human intelligent presence here. I believe it's extraterrestrial. They won't cross that red line. And I think that the reason is because they have no control. They just can't control it. And it must also be something bad. There must be most certainly a bad aspect to this. Because if it was all good, right, I don't think they would have had a problem talking about it. But I think they don't know enough. That's one thing. And another thing, they've probably seen enough to come to the conclusion that whatever these beings are up to, it ain't good. That's what I think. And that's one of the things they don't want to, that's why they don't want to talk about it. And I think what the message here is, the fact that they've been talking about it, they basically flood the zone with UFO stories these days. I mean, you got all this stuff, but none of the stuff coming from the government or former government officials or any of them, right, is ever conclusive proof. It never is, right? You see it. It's like they're flooding the zone with so many different stories that confuses everybody. Some people get sick and tired of, we're going to pass that UAP Transparency Act. We're going to include that in the National Defense Authorization Act, right? For the last couple of years, they tried to do that, and the first time they tried it, it got gutted for the most part, and it was pretty much useless. The second time, nothing happened, and now they're going to try it again, and if it passes, maybe it's probably not going to pass. It's not going to, because you know what? That's not the intention here. The intention here is just to keep talking about UAP, just to keep it in the public consciousness. It's all nonsense. They're concerned about something happening that's so big they're not going to be able to cover it up, and then they're going to cart somebody out in front of a podium with some sort of a contingency plan, right? And it's going to be a half-assed story that they're going to tell you. They're not going to tell you the full truth because they can't. They already have some story drummed up, I am sure. Right, and it's not even, that won't even be the full truth. The governments of the world, like the United States, and I'm sure probably other countries like China and Russia and a lot of their allies, probably most certainly have not only alien craft but also alien bodies on ice, and they don't want to talk about these things because it's beyond their control. There's nothing they can do to help anybody here when it comes to this. I mean, what are they going to do? How are they going to stop alien abductions once they cross that red line and everybody knows all of a sudden, oh my God, it is real? So that means this alien abduction stories must be real too. That must mean these cattle mutilations are real too. That must mean people are getting alien implants inside them. That might mean that there's hybrids living among us and they look just like us, but they're not us. They're half alien, half human. All these things are going to come to the forefront all of a sudden, and nobody's going to be, the government's, it's going to be like chaotic. People won't be able to deal with it in the government's mind. That's what they think will happen. And that might happen, but that's the situation that we are in, folks. I think the only people, there's people I'm sure that are watching this podcast that know for a fact now that we're not alone, based on the evidence that I was presenting on this show over the last couple of years, over the last year and a half particularly, especially related to the Las Vegas alien incident. When you look at that evidence, and I've done many, many episodes on it, and I'm sure in the future I do plan to do some more things with that, because it should never be stopped. We should not stop talking about that case. Let's consider this. Okay, ask yourself this question. Last year after Scott Roeder came on the show and we did that, he did that presentation, showed us why this shows definitively that we're not alone, that there was some sort of a non-human intelligence in that backyard back in 2023. I wrote this big, long letter. I talked about this on the show. I sent it to the Department of Defense as well. I sent a courtesy copy, emailed, to both of these entities, a courtesy copy to the Department of Energy. I laid it all out. I never received any response, right? They can't respond to it. They won't even respond. Here's another thing. They won't even respond to tell me they think I'm nuts, right? Or anybody who believes this story is nuts. They can't do that because then that would put a spotlight on that story and then everybody will look at it in the world and that's like disclosure. That's why they're not talking about it. And then it just happened again more recently. This year. This is two different administrations too, by the way. So it was last year, it was Biden was there. Now Trump's there. I sent it to, I contacted the office of my local United States representative here. I talked to one of their staffers. And I talked about this before. I told him the situation. I said, there's definitive proof now that we're not alone. There's non-human intelligent presence here. There's no question about it. And this case proves it. And he asked me to put up information together. I put it in a big email with a lot of different links in it. And then I was informed. I sent it off to him. And then I asked him. I didn't think that my representative would be interested in it, but I thought people in the UAP caucus would be interested in it. And I was informed that all of that stuff, all that information that I sent was sent off to the to Washington. I've not heard anything, and that was months ago now, 3-4 months ago. Okay, I've not heard anything because you know why? They can't. They don't even want to say it. They don't want it. Nobody in Congress wants to say Las Vegas aliens because then it's going to cause people out there to go on the internet and they're going to realize and pretty quickly that case proves beyond any doubt that we are not alone. That there's something here. They don't want to talk about it. I believe that proof is out there, show. I don't know who's behind it, but I would not be surprised if somebody in the government wanted them to present that show like that and lie to the world. I really believe that. I do. But the bottom line is this. The evidence is out there. They don't want to tell you. Basically, we're on our own. I think this is what we're going to get unless something big happens and they're forced to say something, right? But I don't think we're ever going to. It doesn't seem to me at this point, after 8 years almost, right? Almost 8 years when they finally took a little step, right? And we've had whistleblowers and we've had some really compelling information, but it's all just words. It's all words. They never presented to the public any sort of solid evidence. They never carted out an alien body in Congress to show you, right? They never did it. They never showed us any of the crashed UFOs that they have. They're keeping it a secret on purpose. They don't want you to know. They don't want anybody to know. But the bottom line is this. There is no question about it. Governments of the world are lying. Whatever government you're sitting, wherever you are right now, let me just tell you this: your government, if they're lying to you, or they don't know anything, right? Either they're kept in the dark, or they don't have the data like the United States does. But I am certain the United States has proof that they could show you that would most certainly end this debate. There should be no debate anymore. There should be. The debate is over. The debate ended in April of 2024, when we were able to show that there's that the video that was filmed of that backyard showed that there were alien creatures there, right? And that the video wasn't tampered with. There was no CGI. We were able to. That's proven. It's proven. Right, we were able to show that the object that came down, right, had no heat signature because there was a robo taxi that's owned by Amazon that filmed it, and it filmed it in different filters, including using infrared, right, and in the infrared it was no heat signature because it was cold. And another video that was taken from someone's security camera that had sound, the object was making an oscillating sound as it came down to Earth, right? And in a report, one of the reports filed to the American Meteor Society from a woman in Arizona, right? The night that object came down was actually April 30th, 2023, when the object was seen right before midnight, falling from the sky. It was seen by people from 4 different states, and a woman from Arizona saw it. She saw it falling down from the sky, and then she saw 2 UFOs, and they were hovering around that area where it landed for about 2 hours. Right? That's what happened. And that she filed that report that night before this was even big news to the American Meteor Society. Right? And so when like programs that are part of the establishment, that are establishment connected, right? Like the proof is out there, right? That they won't tell you these things, right? They're not going to tell the public these things. You got to find it yourself. You got to do your own research or find podcasts like this that will tell you. But the government's not going to tell you. We're pretty much on our own with this. Because there's nothing they could do about this, and it just gets me mad. They treat us like we're a bunch of dumb babies or dumb idiots, or I don't know what you would call it. But it's to me, it's an insult to my intelligence that this has gone on as long as it has, almost 80 years now, at least. I mean, there could have been other crashes that happened before Roswell, it seems. I mean, could have been one in 41. There could have been other ones. I mean, we're not sure about those. I mean, there's not really a lot of data on those, but the Roswell thing most certainly happened. There were just too many witnesses. So the bottom line is this: the government knows I don't think they have any intention to tell you the truth, to cross that red line. They should just get it over with already, because this is just stupid what's going on right now, because we have the proof, and I'm just sick and tired of all of this nonsense that we see all over the internet. These people debating about whether this UFO is a UFO or whether it's a balloon. What does that matter? Who cares anymore? We have the evidence that shows we're not alone. None of these things matter. It's all just, like I said, just noise. Flood the zone with a bunch of different nonsense and have people debate, oh, I wonder if this new one that was Arrow released is something or not. Who cares? We already have the proof. That we know that some of these things are non-human and created. It's already a done deal, man. So I just wanted to lay this out here today. I know this is something that's been brewing up in me for a couple of weeks here. Sometimes you just want to say certain things, and this is one of the things I want to say. I just want to let you know, right, that people in government, the people that we put in power to serve us, right, are lying to us. They've been lying to us for 80 years, and they still won't tell us the truth. They're piecemealing it over the past 8 years. It's 8 years. I mean, that's ridiculous. They started to try to tell the truth in 2017, but look where we at. Where are we at? We didn't get anywhere. They never crossed that red line. But guess what? It's too late, fellas. It's already a done deal. That evidence is out there in the public domain, and anybody who finds that evidence is going to know for a goddamn fact that it's real. There's no question about it. Anyway, I just want to say this. I want to say thank you all for joining me today. Until next time.